Faith in Recovery with Anthony Acampora.
Welcome to Banyan's Faith in Recovery program. My name is Anthony Acampora. I am your host. Thank you for joining us. Banyan Treatment Center also has a faith-based substance abuse program in Pompano Beach, Florida, and we have a traditional-based program as well. We can be reached at banyantreatmentcenter.com or faithinrecovery.com. That's our faith-based program. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get right into it here. I want to introduce a really special guest that we have on the show today. We have Chief John Mina. He's the Orlando Police Chief. A little bit about his background. Veteran of the United States Army. He was in the 82nd Airborne Division as a military police officer. 27 years with Orlando Police Department. Wow. Including Criminal Investigations Division, Sex Crimes Unit, Crimes Against Children Unit, Community Policing Division, Training Unit, and the Drug Enforcement Division. He was also a member of the SWAT team for 17 years, and he was the team commander. Oh, that's pretty amazing. So he's also running for sheriff of Orange County. So we wish you all the best with that, Chief, and welcome to the show, Chief John Mina.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you. It's great to have you on the show. Thank you so much. I've been reading about you and checking out some of your YouTube videos and things, and you've had a really incredible career, and that's great that you're going to be running for Orange County Sheriff. You want to, maybe we could start off with that. You want to tell us a little bit about how you are going to make that move and what goes on there with I guess it's an election process and all of that. So,
yeah, sure. So, as you stated, I've been with the Orlando Police Department for 27 years. I've been the chief of police here for 4 years, nearing the end of my career here as our retirement works. And so, up came this opportunity. Our current sheriff, Jerry Downs, is leaving midterm, basically, to run for the mayor of Orange County, actually. So this is a perfect opportunity for me, a perfect fit. And I have the experience, I have the community support, and it's just going to be some nice continuity for the residents here in Orange County. And I want to bring a lot of the great things I've done here at the Orlando Police Department, the city of Orlando, to all of Orange County. So I just think it's a great fit. I'm really excited about it. I have a lot of support throughout all of Central Florida. So getting ready to get going.
That's great. That's great. I wish you all the best. I was actually in Orlando last week. I was at a conference, and I was talking with a friend up there who I've known for years, and he said he's from Orlando, and he said the nicest things about you. I mentioned that you were coming on the show, and it's funny because this guy hates everybody, and he said some really nice things, and he's probably listening to this too when it comes on too.
Well,
so
that's nice to hear.
No, I could just tell from, I like to do some research on people that are coming on the show, and like I said, from the videos out there, just the YouTube and just your background, you could just tell that you have such a heart for this. I would say you probably have to be in 27 years of the police department. But I like that, some of the things I was reading of, the approach, like especially your background with the community policing and then the other, divisions that you were in. It's very well-rounded because sometimes, you'll get chiefs or you'll get sheriffs and things, and they're just very narrowly focused on either community policing or the total opposite and just lock everybody up, and you kind of have a mix of both. But that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's really been a great career. I've done just about pretty much everything you do on the police department. I think, when I first became a police officer, I thought, that was the way. We just, put the bad guys in jail, and that's our job. And then as I start to gain more experience on the street and both at the department, I realized that it's more about than just putting the bad guys in jail. We got to engage with our community. We have to interact with our youth, and it's all of our responsibility to make this a better place to live. And police officers are the most visible, signs of government. So we have to be in the forefront. We have to kind of lead the way in that community policing aspect. And what I tell people all the time is, there can't be a police officer on every single street, in front of every single house. So it really takes the whole community to kind of be our eyes and ears. But they also have to trust us enough to call and know that we're going to come out there and we're going to keep everyone safe and do the right thing. And a lot of that comes by the community engagement we do, and we do a lot of it, but also being accountable and transparent and open to the public, because it's their police department. I think that's where a lot of people get maybe sidetracked and start thinking of just the police department. It's the community's police department, so we're there for them, and we should police the way they want us to police.
That's great. That's very well said. I want to ask you a question about, because you were in the Drug Enforcement Division, and
Yes.
just the 27 years of our Orlando PD. What have you noticed as far as the changes with drug enforcement and the drugs that are out there? From when you first started to now, like what's the differences?
Right.
What are you guys up against every day where maybe you weren't 20 years ago?
Yeah, so 25 years ago when I was at the drug unit, we were mostly focusing on the dealers who were selling crack cocaine and cocaine. I saw a little bit of heroin and obviously, illegal amounts of cannabis. But as we move forward, really started to see, especially here in Florida, the oxycodone, oxycontin, and all these pill mills that popped up. Probably, going back now 5, 6, 7 years ago, and so the entire state, and I think really, for the most part, the nation kind of really focused on that. These pill mills, these doctors who were prescribing OxyContin, oxycodone, other opioids at just a irresponsible rate, and so once all the restrictions and laws were put in place, going back a few years now, it really stopped a lot of those pill mill activities and that type of thing. It's still out there, but it's not nearly as bad. So people who are already addicted to opioids and OxyContin, oxycodone, because of surgeries and because of other reasons, we're really looking for another drug, and that's when we really saw the resurgence of heroin, because it's and then heroin is just an addictive drug, is what I have seen, and I have people that are extremely close to me that are addicted to this drug, and someone that comes from a family that's well off and that has everything they could possibly need as far as living arrangements and education and everything that you could be to grow up and be a successful adult. But this person got addicted to heroin, and then once they try that substance, it's just a hard uphill battle. So, and then probably now going back a couple of years, we saw the introduction of fentanyl, and the dealers, for whatever reason, probably because they can get it cheaper, are mixing fentanyl with heroin, sometimes straight, and selling fentanyl in place of heroin. And so we've seen overdoses, not only in this community, but nationwide, just skyrocket, and overdose deaths. And we've done a lot in this community to really stop that. And one of the things we did, besides going right after the dealers, was to equip all of our first responders, all of our officers, with the drug Narcan, so that if someone was going into someone was overdosing and our officers came upon that person, they could immediately administer the Narcan, which they carry on their uniform, and help save lives. And we've saved many so far.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Chief. We're going to need to take a quick break. We're going to be back in 30 seconds. Banyan's Faith and Recovery Program. I'm your host, Anthony Acampora. We'll be right back.
If you or a loved one are struggling with drug and alcohol problems or mental health disorders, call Banyan Treatment Center at 888-270-5712. Visit our website, faithandrecovery.com. We have a compassionate and understanding staff that were once in your shoes, and our clinical team is highly skilled to handle all types of addictions. If you need help, don't wait. Call 888-270-5712 or visit our website, faithandrecovery.com.
Lord, I need you. Oh,
Welcome back to Banyan's Faith and Recovery radio program. My name is Anthony Acampora. I'm your host. We have a really special guest on today. It's Orlando Police Chief John Mina. And we're having a good conversation here about the opiate epidemic and how it's impacting, Orlando and those types of things. So I just wanted to follow up what we were talking about earlier, Chief. In your opinion, what do you think needs to happen to really make a difference on this opiate epidemic and just really have a major impact? What do you think? If there's a few things that you could mention there.
Well, I think law enforcement is doing a good job, especially like here in our area. We really work closely together with local, state, and federal law enforcement officers. And, in the state of Florida, we've also put a couple of good laws in place. We just talked about fentanyl now. They've kind of upped the penalties for trafficking in fentanyl, just like if you would traffic in heroin. So that's good. But I really think if we're going to solve this problem, it's got to start on the front end with prevention and education. Because like I mentioned before, once someone tries that drug, they're addicted to it. It's so hard for them to overcome it. Many people do, but some cannot because of how powerful and addictive it is. So I think if we start on the front end with more prevention and more education about how addictive this is, because I think your average person knows that illegal drugs like heroin and cocaine are not good for you, bad for you. But I don't think they really grasp that these small amounts of heroin and fentanyl could kill you.
Yes.
I just don't think they grasp that beforehand. And then once they try it, they're addicted to it. So they're not thinking clearly about what the drug will do to them.
Absolutely. We deal with it with the families of our clients that are addicted at Banyan's Treatment Center, and they're just like starved for information on this because it's all new and they don't understand it. They don't know. And so that when you have people, like you said, they don't realize the danger of this. I said this on a previous show. When I grew up, in school and college, high school, I think there was 2 people that I knew that died of heroin overdoses, and it was very rare. And now I'm getting like messages, people I've had in other treatment centers or people I know from this field. It was like weekly at one point. There was like 1 or 2 a week. It seems to get a little bit better now, but I mean this stuff is just lethal. I mean, I was reading about the drug sniffing dogs too, with the fentanyl, and when they were coming in contact with it, they were.
Yeah, it's another thing that we've never had to worry about in the past, as to this extent. Our canines who are trained in drug recognition, and if they ingest just a small amount of this, it can kill them. So, a lot of the canines carry, a lot of the canine officers carry kits and drugs to help the dogs if they become affected by heroin and fentanyl.
That's amazing. That is really, I mean, literally, I think you're talking about basically like grains of sand or salt.
Yeah.
That much. And
it's just a couple of grains. That's it.
And you don't have drug dealers out there that really care either way what happens. In fact, some of them it's an incentive to have people overdose because their sales go through the roof because everybody wants to seek out that drug dealer to get that huge high, which is that's crazy to me, but that's what happens.
It is. We actually have drug dealers on video selling to our undercover agents and them basically saying, yeah, this is the stuff that's killing everyone. Right. So they know it, and they continue to sell it because of the greed.
That is amazing. That is really something else. What I wanted to ask you too, I want to shift gears a little bit. You were very much involved with, dealing with the aftermath and the whole situation with the Pulse tragedy, the nightclub situation. Could you speak a little bit about that? How are people doing from that? Are they still kind of? I mean, you experience something like that, whether you're in law enforcement, I would think, or just if you're even in there or knew somebody in there, you're probably pretty devastated. How's everybody doing up there?
Well, yeah, I mean, gosh, we're just a few months shy of the 2-year anniversary, if you believe that. Now, today is the start of the trial for Noral Salmon, the wife of Omar McCain, and it brings back all those memories. Our officers, their survivors. Really, the community has to relive it because. They'll be talking about the trial all day today and probably for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So it's something that it's constantly on our minds. We're always thinking about the 49 victims here, and then all those others who were affected, and of course our first responders, who many have had to deal with post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's something that we'll probably be dealing with for years, just like unfortunately many other jurisdictions that have had to deal with these shootings.
Sure, I know that. The Vegas shooting, they consulted. I saw some videos and YouTube videos about they were asking you about to kind of consult or give some ideas when that was going on. I think you're on MSNBC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I always, every time we have one of these, I always kind of reach out. And I know our city departments, because unfortunately we have the experience of having gone through this, always reach out. We actually the city of Orlando sent 2 employees out to Las Vegas to kind of help with the aftermath. And then after the Parkland shooting, we sent our legal team down there to kind of help them deal with some of the legal issues that come up afterwards regarding public records. So, like I said, unfortunately, we've been through this, so we have that experience that a lot of people don't have.
Yes. So kind of moving on to another tragic situation, the Parkland shooting recently at the school. What are your thoughts on school safety, and what are your recommendations? What do you think has to happen in that area as far as really securing our schools for our kids and people's loved ones, little kids going to school? What do you think about that?
Nothing is more important than the safety of our children. So we need to do everything we can to ensure that safety, and it's going to start with single point access, kind of target hardening our schools. We do a lot of different things here, and then with schools and our businesses, and we could use a model called SEPTA. It's crime prevention through environmental design. And it's when you're building and you're remodeling schools, you need to keep that in mind, keep everyone's safety in mind. I think that we have to do a better job of keeping people out who don't belong in there. And then, of course, school resource officers. We're fortunate here in Central Florida, in Orange County at least, to have 2 school resource officers for every high school, 1 resource officer for every middle school. And I know that other jurisdictions didn't have that luxury, and I know the governor, just signed that bill and that legislation to get more school resource officers especially for those jurisdictions who don't have them yet. So, and I think even in addition to that, we need to supplement those school resource officers with additional security, more eyes out there that are specifically trained just to look out for that type of thing. To help the officers that are assigned to each school. And I'm not a big fan of arming our teachers. I don't think it's our teachers are burdened with so much. They're in charge of educating our children, and to put that extra responsibility on them is not right. They don't have the physical training, they don't have the mental preparation I think that is needed to do that. I just read a story on CNN today that a teacher in some school had an accidental discharge in a classroom full of students. So I just don't think it's the right thing. There are a lot of other things that I mentioned that would be better than that.
Right. Thanks for sharing that. Just getting back to the opiate epidemic and that type of thing. I think what you said before, the education, catching it on the front end is paramount. I mean, that's huge. Because after the fact, I mean, you're kind of going through, it's almost like a storm or like a tornado or something. You're trying to pick up all the pieces of this devastation of addiction and active addiction and that type of thing. And like we said, I don't think, there's a lot of people, because it's so new, I'm sure some of them do, but really realize what the game of Russian roulette that they're playing with their lives with this stuff.
I think that's the key. People just don't. Your average person just doesn't realize how powerful, addictive, and deadly this drug is. I think now people are starting to see that, but how many hundreds and thousands of people have died already that have been got addicted and then overdosed. So we need to really ramp that prevention and education up.
Right, absolutely. So Chief, I wanted to give you a little time to talk a little bit about, when you announced on, I think it was February 14th that you were.
Yes.
It's funny because I was looking at when I connected with you when I sent you an invitation for the show, and it was February 10th. And I was wondering, that was interesting because it was before you actually announced. The timing's perfect, I guess.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about, what's your goals and what do you like to do? If I'm assuming that you're gonna get this, because I think you'd be perfect for it, and hopefully it'll work out. But if it does, what are you gonna do when you get in there? What's gonna be your priorities that you're gonna focus on?
Well, thanks. Yeah, and I do think I'm by far the most qualified candidate in the race, and but I'm not going to take anything for granted. So I'm going to work really hard on this campaign. But I want to focus on several things, and of course, first and foremost and paramount is the reduction of crime and the fear of crime in all of Orange County. And there are a couple of challenges that are related to that. There are some areas that have been hard hit by crime just over the many decades, and so I want to bring a lot of the good things we've done here at the Orlando Police Department to all of Orange County. And I know actually the current sheriff and I it's just our community-based program called Operation Ceasefire, and that's basically getting the entire community to get on board and really it's really reaching out to that small percentage of people who are committing the crime. You basically let them know, we know who you are. Here are all the services that are available. Here's how you can get a job. Here's how you can continue education. Here's how you can get off of drugs. Here's all these things. So you need to take advantage of that. If not, we're going to continue to put you in jail behind bars, and then pretty soon you'll be in prison forever. So that's part of the program. But yeah, there's some challenging pockets that we have to aggressively go after as far as the small percentage of people who are committing the crime, but also like I talked about on the other end, the community engagement. And we do so many formal community engagement programs here. I want to bring some of those to all of Orange County, and also basically spread my message of interaction with our residents and especially our youth. And to me, I would want our deputies to touch the life of a child every single day, and that could be a smile, it could be a wave, it could be talk about sports or play catch. It just takes a few minutes, and the more and more conversations you have like that, the more and more trust it builds between especially our youth and our officers, and that helps us in the long run. Of course, I want to always look to improve technology. One of the things we did here is we brought body-worn cameras to all of our first responders. I know they have done that at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. So I'm going to look to any kind of technology that's going to help us reduce crime and especially keep the deputies safe while they're out there on the streets.
That's great. Sounds like a great approach, and thanks for that overview of what your goals and what you're looking to do when you get in there. So thank you for that. We're going to need to end. I really want to thank Chief Mina for coming on the show. He's the Orlando Police Chief. He's been with the Orlando Police Department for 27 years. He's running for Sheriff of Orange County. We wish him all the best on that. We want to thank everyone for joining us. This is Faith in Recovery. Join us at the same time every week. We're also going to be adding an additional day, and that's going to be Sundays at 1:30. So on 94.9 and AM 950, The Word, we will be on Sundays as well as Saturdays at 1:30. So thank you so much for joining us. Chief, thanks so much. Be safe. I wish you all the best with the election, and God bless you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.